All right, so people all over the internet are talking about the Wahl Peanut and how that this corded trimmer is more powerful and more durable, lasts longer, whatever, versus battery-powered trimmers. There seem to be people on the internet very, very skeptical of how well a battery-powered or sort of non-corded trimmer can work. I think a lot of this skepticism comes from testing out trimmers maybe 10 or 15 years ago and having a bad experience. So we're gonna test the Wahl Peanut against a couple different styles of battery-powered trimmers and see how it stacks up. We're gonna test its cutting power. We're gonna see what is it good for? Is it more powerful? We're gonna take a look at what the limitations for the Wahl Peanut are, and overall just kind of how that stacks up today versus a modern battery-powered trimmer. So the Wahl Peanut was launched in 1992 and has remained pretty much unchanged ever since. There's a couple variations of this thing with the outer shell, one of them looking like a peanut. What this is though is this is sort of a detailed trimmer. So this is not a full range clipper. It's really meant to be a detail tool. So it has a fairly small motor. It is extremely lightweight. I think the cord weighs more than the trimmer itself does. Also has a really tiny blade on it. Not only is it narrow, but it has very small and fine teeth. So this is not a trimmer that was ever designed to cut thick hair. It's really kind of a touch-up tool, kind of work around the edges. It can cut pretty short, but you're not gonna be doing full-length trims with this thing. And that is evidence of the guards that it comes with. So we have a 3mm, 6mm, 10mm, and a 13mm guard. Those are kind of interesting lengths, and there's giant gaps in between it, so they're not super useful. I think that anyone who's using this trimmer is probably just going to be using it straight up without the guards. Again, kind of doing those spots on your cheeks, maybe your neck, or whatever spots that you want to cut super short with. That is what this thing is designed to do. In terms of its overall use, don't expect to be giving yourself haircuts with this. I wouldn't even necessarily use this as a beard trimmer just because the length guards are so limited that you're not gonna find the length you want with this trimmer. So let's talk about the power of this thing. You know, initially, when I was thinking about doing this video, I was thinking that an AC motor was just gonna blow these DC motor trimmers out of the water when it came to power. When I started cutting the horsehair bristle brush, so just for reference, this is horsehair. This is not a super coarse or tough brush. This thing really struggled. I could tell that when it started, the RPMs were higher than the battery-powered trimmers. I noticed that this thing was bogging down. Just take a listen. So the Wahl Peanut was getting bogged down when it was cutting the horsehair bristle brush, and a lot of the other trimmers did not. Here's kind of where I saw the difference. The nicer trimmers that were a little more powerful. So I tested it with the Brio Beardscape that had no trouble cutting that horsehair. Running it through the same way, the trimmer was cutting the hair better and not bogging down. So the RPM of the blade was not slowing as I moved it through. Also found the same with the Wahl lithium-ion trimmer. Again, you know, this is the same company, right? When you look at these two products, they're similar price. The Peanut, I think this was $60. The lithium ion, I think this is about $74. So there's a little bit of difference there. This trimmer though feels much heavier, and I think the blade is a little bit nicer. But the funny thing really is that it is no less powerful than this guy, the Wahl Peanut, which is a plug-in trimmer. At first I was really thinking that there's no way that the cordless trimmers are gonna hold up, I guess, to the power that this guy should have. But honestly, I think it's probably just a really undersized motor in this little guy, being that it was designed kind of for detail work. When I compared it to smaller detailed trimmers, these guys bogged down and definitely were not as powerful as the Peanut. This is the Wahl all-in-one, and this thing its crappiness is legendary. In fact, this is the trimmer that was so crappy it inspired me to make the Beardscape. Either way, it's been around for a long time. This thing is fairly inexpensive at $44. This definitely did not have the power that the Peanut had. So I think that for everyone who's out there on the internet saying that battery-powered trimmers can't hold up or are just not as powerful or reliable as a plug-in trimmer, I think you're probably just comparing it to like a trimmer like this. I would come to the same conclusion. This battery on the Wahl all-in-one is terrible. It didn't cut through the horsehair very well, and you could just see feel and hear its lack of power. If you're comparing the Peanut to one of the lower end trimmers with a really bad battery and motor, yes, I see the difference. But there's a lot of people who seem to have the opinion that no trimmer could possibly compete with that. If you take a look at these videos, you can see the Beardscape, and then I also use this other trimmer. It's a little bit more of a professional trimmer called the Gamma Evo, and these things just absolutely destroyed the horsehair. I think that this comparison alone should go to show you that there are battery-powered trimmers that are just absolutely as powerful or even way more powerful than the Wahl Peanut. So no advantage there. Don't think that you're getting something that's stronger because you're plugging it in, because that is absolutely not the case. So let's talk about the cord. Bathrooms have limited space, especially drawer space. And I could not bring myself to cramming this thing in a drawer. I mean, I see absolutely no point in doing this to yourself. You know, the cord, it's 8 feet long. You're gonna be able to get in front of a mirror. Other than storage, I don't think there's a lot of considerations, honestly. Like, using it, yeah, maybe, like, you're not gonna take it in the shower. It's a little bit annoying when you're moving around your face and you're kind of dragging a cord with you. A little bit, not a huge deal. For me, it's all about the storage. You know, that I have to cram this thing back in a drawer when I'm done using it it's kind of a non-starter. You know, if you go with something that's a little bit more expensive, the Beardscape's about $109. Yes, you're paying more, but first of all, it's more powerful. Secondly, you're not gonna have those problems. One of the other things that people complain about is charging time and then battery life. That totally depends on which battery-powered trimmer you're buying. You know, there are some on the lower end of the spectrum where you're gonna be charging it for an hour and you're gonna get maybe 90 minutes of runtime. And then of course that's gonna die quicker. With the Beardscape, different story. You might charge it for a couple hours, but you're probably gonna do that like once a year. So this thing at its slowest speed has about 4 hours of trimming time. Most people find that 1 to 2 charges a year is basically all you need to keep this thing going. And then of course with the battery meter, it's very unlikely that you're going to run out of power mid-trim because this thing makes you painfully aware of exactly where the battery is at all times. So here's what I would say. There is not much credibility to the argument that plug-in trimmers are more powerful. That's not the case with this Wahl Peanut, and I don't think power or cutting power is really a limitation with a lot of the higher end battery powered clippers either. Lifespan. So one of the other things I wanted to cover that people have mentioned on the internet is that a corded trimmer is going to last longer. There is some credibility to this argument. This is a fairly durable AC motor. There's no reason that this thing shouldn't last 15 to 20 years. I know there's a lot of stories out there of the Peanut lasting 15 years. I know there's a lot of stories of it not lasting 15 years. But overall, I would agree that there's probably an enhanced lifespan, especially over a lower quality battery-powered trimmer, something with a small battery. But when you get into a more expensive trimmer with a bigger battery in it, you're buying longer lifespan. So any lithium-ion battery will degrade over time. Anyone who has an iPhone that's more than 2 years old knows all about that. And one of the reasons we completely oversized the battery for the Beardscape is that we built in that sort of extended lifetime. So this battery could lose 50% of its capacity over time, but it's still going to be a very functional trimmer. Whereas if you have a trimmer whose battery lasts 90 minutes at the most, and you cut that trimming time in half, all of a sudden you have a trimmer that's not so functional anymore. And soon you may find that it starts dying nearly every time you trim. At that point, people usually get fed up and replace it. I guess to sum that up, yes, in some cases, the overall lifespan of a plug-in trimmer may be longer than a cordless trimmer, but if you find a cordless trimmer like the Beardscape that has a giant battery, lifespan really isn't much of a concern. It's gonna be probably at least 5 years, probably longer. So if you were considering getting the Wahl Peanut because you thought it would be more powerful or have a longer lifespan or be more reliable, that's probably not the case. Honestly, I feel like this thing's been around for 30 years. I think that's a little bit too long in the lifespan of a consumer product to go without a redesign. I mean, I think the blade alone Wahl can do better than this. The blade on their lithium-ion trimmer is definitely nicer. Why couldn't they take this blade and put it on this trimmer? I don't know. Obviously, they haven't really touched it in 30 years. I don't know. Maybe they just don't feel the need to do that. But, you know, in my mind, 30 years is far too long to go leaving a product on the market untouched, unimproved. I think probably the one positive thing I could say about the Wahl Peanut is that it is made in the USA. And I have a lot of respect for that. You know, being a person who has made products in the USA before and also having to make products overseas as well. So I do have a lot of respect for this trimmer being made in the USA. I don't think any of their cordless trimmers are. If that's wrong, someone let me know in the comments. But as far as I know, the Wahl Peanut or some of their other plug-in AC motor trimmers are the ones that are actually made here. So if you're looking for that, that is a reason to buy the Wahl Peanut. All right, so overall, generally would not recommend the Wahl Peanut for anything. If you're looking for sort of a detailer trimmer option, there are plenty of great detail-oriented trimmers that are cordless that I would recommend way above the Wahl Peanut. Anyway, if you want to see a list of those or some more descriptions on some of these other trimmers I was talking about today, check the description below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. As always, thanks for watching.